It's already happening. It's already happening. Our greatest fears are starting to come true. Not even 24 hours after the end of the regular season, and multiple teams are already calling for Ben Johnson, and at least reportedly one team for Aaron Glenn. So both coordinators, and that's kind of the fear, isn't it? The fear is that you have both coordinators walk out the door. I don't think people are as afraid of Aaron Glenn, but he really did take an offense that was, or a defense that was young, and they showed marked improvement throughout the season. So without further ado, let's get to the article. This is what we're looking at. Colts request to interview Lions Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn for head coaching jobs. So not only do you have both coordinators interviewing for a job, but the same job. I just think that's absolutely nuts. Now, I don't know what the reason for both is. And maybe they just want to see who they think is more responsible or more ready to do the same thing that Dan Campbell has done in Detroit this year. So let's look at this. This is going to be the first round of head coaching interviews for Ben Johnson. And a lot of guys don't get the job on their first round of interviews. I'm not going to say I hope he doesn't, because I don't. Here's what I hope for him. If he takes a head coaching job, I hope it's in a place where he can succeed. And what I mean by that, I hope it's in a place where he can either get his prize rookie quarterback that he feels is the best player in this draft so that he can have a good commander in charge of this ship, or I hope if it's not that, or a good already incumbent quarterback. But I would hate for him to go to Indy and get stuck with whatever they have. And they might be able to get a good quarterback. I think they have like the 4th pick or something. So they might be all right there. But I would really hate for him to go into a bad situation. My hope is that he is picky with this job, that he doesn't just jump at the first head coaching offer that comes his way, that he doesn't just say, Houston Texans, I'm in. It's a dumpster fire over there. That's the other team that's asked for his interview, by the way. So I really hope that he can go to a good situation, because as a first-time head coach, you have a lot more to plan on than just the offense. So he needs to try and get that together. But Dan Campbell believes that he is worthy of it. Dan Campbell, his quote is this. He said, when they asked him if he earned the opportunity to be a head coach, he said he would be worthy of that. I think a ton of Ben. I think I've said it before, I just think he's extremely bright. He's creative. He's organized. He's a great communicator. I can't say the word communicator. That's funny. I mean, he's got it. And I would do anything I can to help him. That's the bottom line. Of course, I don't want to lose him, but I'm not going to hold him back either. I would help him any way I can help him. Look, you have to say this as a head coach. But no, he doesn't want to lose him. And you know who else he doesn't want to lose? He doesn't want to lose Aaron Glenn. I think like some of us can talk about Aaron Glenn and how the defense has struggled mightily and it's been behind the offense. Well, guess what? The offense, I think it was 1, 2, or 3 as far as salary cap of all offenses in the NFL this year. And you can look at the talent and be like, is that worthy of a top 3 salary cap? Yeah, because a lot of the money is going to the offensive line. A lot of the money is going to the offensive line. So no matter what's around it, we talked about it going into the year. When you have a great offensive line, it makes your quarterback look better. It makes your running backs look better. It's why we hope Jamal Williams takes significantly less to stay in Detroit, because he's running behind a good offensive line. It makes your wide receivers look better because they have more time to get over. Like, look, everything looks better when you have a great offensive line. Everything looks better. So I hope for Ben Johnson that he gets put in a good situation. He understands that like he's got a good thing going here. And if he does go, I hope we have someone ready to step up and take his place, because he was so young and so fresh to the offensive coordinator role. Remember, we had the play calling by committee last year with Dan Campbell ultimately ending the year calling the plays. And then there was all this question of who's going to call the plays, who's going to call the plays, who's going to call the plays. And then it was Ben Johnson, and he erupted. And my hope would be that we could have one more year with Ben Johnson so that we have someone else learning behind him, ready to step up and take the coordinator role. I think that would be perfect. But there's two coordinators getting job offers here, or not offers, interviews. And the other one's Aaron Glenn. And for as much salary cap and as much experience was on the offense, like listen to the names. Listen to the names. Even if you start with a guy like DJ Chark, Jamal Williams, then you have Goff, an experienced quarterback. You have a left tackle that's been a top 10 left tackle in this league for the last almost decade in Taylor Decker, right? You have a Pro Bowl alternate last year, Jonah Jackson. You have a top 5 PFF player in Frank Ragnow in the middle. Like, he's a good player, and this is what's happening. Chris is just popping in. Do you even have any idea what we're talking about here?
100%. Our coaches are getting poached by the Colts.
The Colts and the Texans. And right now, I was just going through talking about the names on the offense and how we're spending a lot of money there. But I'm also talking about why Aaron Glenn. Why do you think Aaron Glenn is worthy of getting head coaching interviews, even though we had what ended up being like the 31st ranked defense?
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because it was so historically bad. Even the good games and just being a good, solid defense didn't make up for it numbers wise, and you still
right, because they were so bad the first 7.
So it's like, oh man, the Lions ranked 32nd and overall, all these things. But I think you do have to give him a lot of credit, and I do think he's a good coach. But yeah, I was not anticipating him getting looked at this year, I guess.
Yeah, and I think we all thought about it last year. He got a couple looks last year, but I was just going through all the names that Ben Johnson had to work with. Like, it's no wonder the offense was better.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, Aaron Glenn's just working with rookies and second-year players, and his best 2 players coming into the year were hurt for almost the whole year. So it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, I guess that does make sense that the defense would struggle. Just the fact that the defense was competitive over the second half of the season showed that he actually did a good job.
100%. Yep. And you've said it before. We out-coached our talent defensively. There's not a ton of talent on our defense. It's young guys, high potential, and big ceiling guys like Hutchinson, and they're getting there, and there's first and second year players. But to be able to do what the defense did the second half of the season with the guys that we had was pretty impressive.
It was impressive. Okay. And not only that, but I think a lot of people will make the case that Aaron Glenn might be a better head coach than a defensive coordinator.
That's right.
Just because he kind of has that. He's not Dan Campbell, but he commands the respect of players and of other coaches, and that's a guy. When you think Aaron Glenn, it's a name that synonymously is with respect. People really do respect him. So here's my question for you. You ready for it?
Ready.
If Ben Johnson gets poached, and a lot of times coaches coordinators don't get head coaching jobs on their first carousel go around. Usually it takes another year of provenness.
100%.
If he gets poached, what are you doing?
Well, let me ask you something, because I don't know the
question answer. The old question to the question.
The old question. How do you stop, before we answer that, how do you even stop this from happening? Can you, if he's like, I want to be a head coach, and is there anything you can offer? Is there anything, or is it, no, this is kind of, if he wants to do it and he gets it, he's going, right?
No, I don't think it's college football, right? I don't think it's one of those things where it's like, we can make you the highest paid assistant in the league.
Yeah.
It's just a question of, does he want to be a head coach? Is that what his aspirations are? And is it that now? Does he think he's ready? I think about the only thing you can do, and I was just reading a Dan Campbell quote before you got on here, where he was saying he thinks he's worthy, he's bright, he's a good communicator, he's organized. I think the only thing you can do is you can sit him down and be like, look, you're not ready yet. Like, you've only had 1 year as a coordinator.
Yes.
So, but here's the thing. I don't think you can make that argument with him, because he's been in the league for like almost 15 years, hasn't he?
And that's the big question for me with Ben Johnson is he a good head coach? He's an outstanding coordinator, but he's where Aaron Glenn is a good coordinator, but I think would make a great head coach. So that's my only hope for for Ben Johnson is that he's not head coach yet.
Mm-hmm.
Outstanding coordinator, but yeah, he could be ready. I just, man, I'm a little surprised. We are the talk of the NFL of all the teams that didn't make the playoffs or even in
I
the
know.
playoffs. We are just kind of the talk of the NFL. We're exciting. We're what teams really are looking for. I mean, really, you look around at the Texans, the Cardinals just fire Cliff, and it's like
Oh yeah,
that's
good.
what
They should have.
that's what you don't want. You want what the Lions are building: strong, firm, a foundation, a core, all these things that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so what are you gonna do? You're gonna poach the guys that are in that system, and they've
And
seen
this
it
is the
work.
NFL trend.
Mm-hmm.
This is the NFL trend right now is you go get the fancy new toy. That's the offensive coordinator. And
Yep.
you pair it well. And I think if he goes, I'm doing two things. I'm evaluating if there's anybody on staff that can take it that we think
Yes.
is in the same mold. Because they've had a couple of guys on staff that they're like, ooh, there might be a chance here. I've heard a couple rumblings. Or I'm getting on the horn to, I think it's Mike LaFleur, not Matt.
Mm.
Mike of the New York Jets. And I'm saying, how about you come over here where we have a decent quarterback and you can do your offense over here?
Yep.
So,
And we're talking to Goff. Goff,
what do you want?
what do you want, man? What do
Mm-hmm.
you I want a guy that's yep, exactly. I want a
Mm-hmm.
guy that'll come in and
Work with me.
work with me and listen to what 100%. So
Yeah. And if I'm
it'll be
interviewing for
interesting.
that offensive coordinator role, that's what I'm saying too. I want to work with Goff. It's proven that it can work, and we
Mm,
want to play to his strengths, and I want to
yeah.
build off that. So, anyways,
Yep.
there you go. Hey, thanks for popping in, man.
Yeah, this was
Thanks.
great. This was
Why
perfect.
not?
Yeah.
Why not pop in? So, anyways, hey, we'll see you guys on the next one. Hit that subscribe button below. This is just going to be what it is for the next few weeks. We're just going to have to wait and see, cross our fingers, hold our breaths, do whatever we got to do. All right. See you on the next one.
See ya.